Hi, my name's He Who Is in the Water. Going to be playing some Pauper today. We had some exciting and relatively unexpected banned and restricted announcements this week. Disciple of the Vault and Galvanic Relay were banned, and Expedition Map was unbanned. So I'll just talk through those a little bit first. The Relay ban, it was pretty necessary, I think. I appreciate that they went for Relay and didn't try to tiptoe around the issue there with trying to hit some of the other cards that were crucial to the deck, and that we just don't have to worry about Relay decks popping up in the future, because the deck was very powerful and not easy to hate out. Just in my experience playing the deck, I had a much better record with this iteration of Storm than Chatterstorm, and it felt like my opponents had a lot less recourse to it. You know, when Chatterstorm was legal, you were facing like main deck Echoing Decays and a whole host of random other hate cards, like Quark Clan Shaman in the main deck was much more problematic from Affinity back then. And Echoing Truth was another big one. Although Seal of Fire did help clean those up with Chatterstorm towards the end. But it was easier to hate out Chatterstorm than Pingerstorm. But Chatterstorm also had, I think a lot more explosive power to kill you on turn 2 or turn 1. Pingerstorm doesn't do that as frequently, but when it goes off, it is harder to stop, I think. So really happy with that ban. And the Disciple ban I'm also pretty fine with. I think Affinity will still certainly be a deck in the format. The engine is powerful. The lands are difficult to disrupt and enable some pretty powerful cards. So I think that'll still stick around, and Disciple is a pretty reasonable card to go after because of the combo potential that it represents for the rest of the deck. That's going to be harder to access now. So Affinity's still going to be good, but it's really going to have to decide on what role it wants to play in the metagame, because I really felt with after ATOG was banned and you started to access Blood Fountain more and be like a 4x Blood Fountain deck, you get to really be this kind of linear deck that just preys on reactive mid-range decks like Fairies. And without Disciple as a form of inevitability there, I'm curious if that will still be the case. But it's an exciting time to be playing Affinity and trying to figure out what that best build there is. And the Expedition map unban, I'm pretty... So I enjoy playing Tron, so I'm kind of happy that it's back, because I like the card Expedition map, and I think it is on power level unlikely to shake things up, and is just going to be a fine card to have back in the format, even if just so that Raptor 56 can trophy again with the Wind Zendikon freed from the real deck. That'll be that's enough. I think that's enough reason to unban it. But I don't love the reasoning that they gave on that as much, where they want Tron to be a little more present than it is, but not as dominant as it was. I just don't like playing that kind of cat and mouse game of just trying to give it just a little bit more power so that it's tier 2 but not tier 1. I just don't enjoy balanced discussions on that minute a level. I would just rather have it not be in the picture, or leave it where it was before this announcement. But so I'm still happy that map is unbanned. I think it's a good unbanning. I just don't love the goal of trying to have Tron be this sort of factor in the metagame, but not too much. It's just a really hard thing to get right, and I think the consequence of giving them too much and then it's back to a Tron dominated metagame is something that a lot of people will not enjoy. So I like the goal from the Pauper format panel. I think it's a really difficult one, and you can get burned playing with fire on that one. But I loved the rationale otherwise. Super happy with the Pauper format panel. To have this kind of action on the format so soon is really exciting. Certainly motivates me to play a bit more, because I was just kind of fooling around with Storm, trying to learn, and it's deck's banned now, so it's it certainly ups the fear of missing out on other decks as the format comes out, because it's I want to play as many leagues with that as I can before that gets banned, because you don't necessarily have the longest amount of time, which is, I think, on the whole, a net positive thing than letting the format rot for too long. I'd rather be look at this 3-week period of Neon Dynasty Pinger Star and be like, wow, I was there. Like, I got to do that for that short period of time. Like, that's a cool thing to try to motivate your player base to do. So what I'm going to be playing today, the metagame right now, it's still pretty wide open. So that means I really just want to mess around with Pestilence, see what kind of build I can come up with. Does this have a place in this metagame? Because it did not have a place in the Neon Dynasty metagame. Mono Blue and Storm were just horrendous matchups. So I think, and Affinity was also really bad there. I don't really know how Boros Synthesizer is as a matchup, and you can see that kind of reflected in my deck building. There's nothing here that's like really for Boros. So I just don't have the experience with that matchup yet to have strong opinions, because Boros Monarch is traditionally like a really fantastic matchup for this deck, but Synthesizer really ups the speed of Boros, and that has pretty drastic consequences, because the way that you always like punk out the Boros Monarch players classically is they misassess their role. The Boros player thinks they're the control player, starts spending their removal spells on your creatures, and then you just like kill them with Guardian of the Guild Pact on like turn 25 after they like, are close to decking, and you just like have more inevitability in that way. But Boros Synthesizer, just the way the deck is constructed, the Boros player is unlikely to get ever tricked into thinking that they have the inevitability. They're going to be trying to push their advantage, because that's how you use Experimental Synthesizer. You have to use your cards right there, right now, and if that doesn't look like you have a good target, that bolt's going upstairs, and that's probably where it should have gone anyway most of the time. So, yeah, my deck building here in the main deck is very similar to what we last left off on. Still got this one Priest of Ancient Lore that I'm very suspicious of, and the 2 Suffocating Fumes are like, I think, the most flexible slots in this deck right now, and I could very easily see those being Prismatic Strands, or Aven Riftwatcher has been making a comeback in some other lists, which I am so on. I like the idea of it because I do really enjoy casting the card Aven Riftwatcher, but the vanishing is pretty problematic that you don't get to have it stick around, and I think it's going to be a little high variance in matchups. So I'm going to be keeping it in mind as I continue testing this deck. It could be better than some of these other cards I've selected, for sure. But for now, I'm just going to hold off a little bit until I get a more defined idea of what I think is going on in this metagame. I've also shifted back the Chainer's Edicts from Journey to Nowhere, but that's not super surprising as the format gets a little bit more fair. I think Edict is going to be better in the long haul. Sideboard is pretty straightforward. Again, you got Prismatic Strands and Leave No Trace for various linear decks. Gut Shot I have just for Mono Blue, and I'll bring it in versus Elves, but I just really want to try to keep Mono Blue from getting too much tempo in the early turns. Kiba Gang Shinobi just as my kind of catch-all disruptive card, because I don't have any hand attack here. Journey to Nowhere for a little extra removal versus Defenders and Heroic, things of that nature. And Cathar Commando, I have not really played this card before, but I think it's where I want to be with Affinity at the moment, because it can interact with some of the early creatures, and then you can buy it back with Omen of the Dead and Custody Squire, and it is very flexible in that matchup, both as just like a 3-1 flash. It's like not the worst piece of cardboard, but destroying artifacts is nice, and most crucially is destroying an enchantment. Part of where I've really been so down on Dust to Dust versus Affinity is that when Makeshift Munitions is the card that kills you, and you just like, do I really want to board in all of these Dust to Dust when I'm like not even getting to the root of the problem? Because if you draw Dust to Dust on like turn 10 and your opponent has munitions in play, they just sack the lands and they go upstairs anyway, and you're not really sufficiently disrupting their inevitability in the matchup. And I like that Cathar Commando offers that, while also just being part of like the a game plan that has a shorter game by just killing them by attacking for 3. So that's kind of where I'm at with the deck. There's some other ways to build Pestilence out there. Let me click on League details. Yeah, X2 here has been crushing it with Pestilence as well, and their build of it looks quite a bit different than mine, with 4 Duress main deck, 2 Castigates, and incorporating some Deadly Disputes, which is a pretty powerful card. Obviously, it's been dominant in this metagame in Affinity and Storm, but it does play well with Omen of the Dead, where sometimes you need to sack your creatures to get them, start reanimating them and get that ball rolling a little bit to get value out of it, as well as playing really well with Aven Riftwatcher. So if you have, this inevitability issue I've talked about with the Riftwatcher, Deadly Dispute kind of helps circumvent that, where it's just like something when that last vanishing counter goes off, you just sack it to Dispute, and that's like a pretty tremendous value play when Riftwatcher is already a card that you would consider playing just on its own. So I do have my eye on their list, and they're a really good player, so I'm excited to see how that pans out in the long run, but I kind of just want to get more thoughts on my build in this current metagame, but there's certainly other things you can do out there with this core. I played one league in this postban format, and I went 4-1, but it was just a nonsense league. I beat Tron 3 times, and I lost to Heroic in the finals, which is like none of that should ever happen. I should never beat Tron. Basically any flavor with this deck, you should not beat it. And like Heroic is like a pretty absurdly good matchup. That just felt bad to lose out on the trophy. But so with that in mind, like I really don't know what this metagame is going to look like, but we're just gonna hop in there and see what's new in Pauper. So let's go. Here we are for round number 1 versus Crazy Loop. Don't know anything about this opponent in particular, but this hand is just an excellent keep. It's kind of missing a piece of removal to be like a quote-unquote perfect hand, but this has just got a good variety of creatures to play and some powerful endgame elements. And more importantly, we've got the best card in the deck, Orzhov Basilica, to hold things together. Evolving Wilds is a deck that makes me think I want removal. But we just play our Swamp here. And we have the option we're going to cycle on their end step. Evolving Wilds for Forest. Oh, this is bad. This is presumably like a Bant Flicker list. That is your deep analysis. I think I want the Swamp here. It does mean we have to consider discarding the hand size this turn, but I think we'll just actually play out this Swamp. I really just want to ride this Pestilence to victory and hope that I can disrupt them in some meaningful fashion. And I think that means we need a lot of black sources to make that happen. What is this? Okay, it's a Plains. Okay. I haven't ended combat stuff because I was playing a meme deck with Desert the other day. I don't think we cast down now. I think I'll just run out this Omen of the Dead. I think having this in play is just going to be better than discarding a hand size here. Not really a card that matters in this matchup, and I don't really want to hold up cast down for this turn. If they have another basic land in Drifter plus Ephemerate, good beats, but... Okay, revealing another deep analysis. Like, even there, I don't think I'd really want to cast down this Coiling Oracle. I don't think the trigger matters too much there. But Oh god, don't temporal spring me. Okay. Okay, they tapped out, so we can resolve our Pestilence here. So this is just really going to be asking the question: Can you answer a game 1 Pestilence? Do they have temporal spring in the mix, or am I going to be able to start really disrupting their engine? I don't know what a Bant list looks like. I don't think there's like a stock thing that's worth looking up. It's going to be kind of whatever my opponent would enjoy casting. Will be in their deck. It's not a sure thing on any axis. Okay, let's see what they discard. Probably a deep analysis or two. Yep, okay, both deep analyses are gone. And I think I'm just going to fire off Pestilence for 2 here. Should have played my Swamp first. I don't think there's anything for 1 white mana that really ruins this here. Probably should have done that in my second main phase, but likely does not matter. Halimar Depths. Oh boy. Definitely just had like a vivid flashback to Mystic Sanctuary there. I saw the blue utility land enter play. I was like, oh my god. I remember that card. That was just... God. Okay, that's great. So like kind of the scarier thing that could happen there is if they snap my Thraben Inspector and then Pestilence just dies. But putting another creature into play is great because now we can like develop out another creature and that lets things keep rolling. I don't think they have like instant speed interaction I care about there. So let's go in and attack for 1. Okay, this chump is fine. It is a touch awkward with the Basilica there, but I think activating this clue token is fine. We do need the second white source relatively soon because we've drawn a lot of cheap white creatures, but I'm feeling good about our position. Wholesome Rasa on Drifter is fine. Okay, so they do have the Familiar. It does suggest that they have like an endgame combo then. I really want to find a Guardian of the Guild Pact so that I can just be like completely rampant with Pestilence in play. So that's this is not good here. Temporal Spring, losing the Pestilence is very bad because it likely means they have time to develop out a counter spell. We'll just cast down the Sunscape Familiar before they get like to draw a negate or something. Maybe I should have done that before. But no, that's worse if they have Snap. So okay, yeah, Prohibit here is like reasonably fine. Wisely drew another Pestilence. Wait, no, that's... I thought this was Teferi Town tick. No, it's on top. It's the same Pestilence. Okay, I caught it. I caught it quick. I was thinking like Teferi Hero Dominaria where it like puts it below, but no, that's just where it always was going to be. So I have access to 7 mana this turn, so I can't do any tricks with Core Skyfisher to try and save some creatures here and wrath the board. I think it's going to be get this Pestilence in play, and I want to cast down Sunscape Familiar, and then I'm just going to get another Inspector in there. I guess maybe I missed 1 point of damage there. If I attack with both Inspectors, they probably don't block, and then whereas now they would just obviously eat the 1 Inspector. So this is worse versus, or not worse, but like they can get back in here with an Archaeomancer to eat Pestilence, or to get Temporal Spring, put Pestilence back on top. They do have Pulsa Marasa in their deck, maybe late to dinner as well. So it's important not to try to be too aggressive with Pestilence. I don't want to just be like burning out for try to be burning with damage there. Like it's just not going to work out. Because they can just easily gain life past that. That is cute with a Ghostly Flicker there. Oh, this island moved a while ago. Oh boy. Yo. Okay. Alright, we're gaming. So it's definitely attacking, because this turn, if we just activate Pestilence for 1 to kill a Drifter, love that exchange. Right, they don't take it. Pick up a Thraben Inspector here, but really just trying to bait a counterspell. Cool. Alright, let's try again. And now we'll just bog this. So that cuts off a pretty significant number of resources for them. 19 cards we exit out, including 2 Ephemerates, Deep Analysis. The Pulsa Marasa is really the prize there. Like, presumably they're a 4 Ephemerate deck, but they may have a smaller number of Pulsa Marasas. Don't really want to activate Pestilence here, but yeah, like this is fine. I don't think we can just wrath the board here to do that. Like I'm not trying to. I don't think Thraben Inspector Beatdown is like really gonna get there, but having this Pestilence in play is going to matter. And we don't need to burn through that just yet. So we're going to see what we draw. So we know we have the Skyfisher on top. We'll just get this with the clue token right now. I don't really care that much if they do things in the meanwhile. Spare Supplies is interesting. Alright, so let's start by attacking, because I do want to Wrath this turn now that they've put 2 things out there. Okay, no blocks. So they've used 2 Prohibits and a Memory Lapse. What are the chances that they have more of that? Alright, so let's start with activating Pestilence for 1. So this way, now we test with Core Skyfisher. See, do they have the counter spell? Because now if they do, I get to put the Skyfisher in, and okay. But now we get to redraw it here, and I'm going to go for it again. I'm not that worried about them comboing me out this turn, so I just want to use all of my mana now that they've shown me they don't have a counterspell. Omen of the Dead looking nice there, but you know, it's probably debatable, was that worth it when I played it out early on one of those turns. I really don't like how I sequenced the early turns of this game. I think that was really bad. Oh, am I just dead here? This is a pretty good way to die. Third familiar into another drifter. I guess it would have to be like they need a snap, they need Archaeomancer, and then they need the God Pharaoh's Faithful. Ether Trade Winds. What? Return target permanent you control and target permanent you don't control to their owner's hands. Okay. Curious. Opponent is getting a lot of jank value here. I don't mean to, I'm not trying to denigrate their deck. It's just Ether Trade Winds was not a thing I'm playing around. Like, I don't know a lot of the cards that they have in their deck, and that's pretty valuable for them at this time. Okay, so they've got Memory Lapse, Ephemerate set up here. So that's probably going to be a hard lock that we cannot get through. Yeah, because they've got we know they have Memory Lapse in hand, and they've got 1 white for Ephemerate. Oh, that's an interesting draw. So I probably test with Pestilence. They Memory Lapse. On their end step, they Ephemerate, and I try to blow them out that way. That's like my only realistic path forward. I guess like testing with Pestilence, like slamming a Pestilence into play every turn is like gonna affect them. So that's on top now. So I'm gonna put a Skyfisher into play. And I think just rebuy this Omen of the Dead. And no good attacks here. Yeah. God, that really, like, puts my hand out there like, hey, here's this cast down, this 2 mana I didn't spend. I don't know if they're reading that much into it, but it's also just hard to stop there. So I have to do this. Like, the game's over if this works. So we have to try. I guess we can deck them too, but... Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Okay. No. Oh, no. Okay, I'm not sure what my plan is here, but I'm going to keep playing because it's not obvious to me that they can win before they deck. So I have 8 mana here, so I can't Pestilence plus Spare Supplies. So I think that means I want to Spare Supplies now. That's not nothing. So I do need to just make sure that they're memory lapsing me every turn, because if I don't, they get to start to develop out beyond that, and so I have to keep them in that lock to try and deck them. And to that end, yeah, still just not attacking. Getting back memory lapse on the main phase. Okay. Last Breath, my core Skyfisher in the main deck. And like the fourth Archaeomancer? Wow. Okay. So they've already used Ephemerate to get back memory lapse in hand, so it's memory lapse unknown, but they don't have another Ephemerate there right now, so I think I try to Chainer's Edict them this turn to just disrupt in some small way. And then hope that like I can double spell next turn maybe. But 6 damage a turn from these drifters is like pretty trivially gonna get there. So it only looks like 1 Temporal Spring. But yeah, I'm just gonna let these last turns play out. I can't imagine a sequence of cards that lets us win from this point if our opponent plays well. So just really going to try to see what time we can eat out of them. Let's find a cycle here. Can't double spell with the Custody Squire, so maybe we'll just have to be a little patient here and see. Yeah, so 2 places I feel I played or made mistakes in this matchup. There was that early turn where I should have played out the Omen of the Dead earlier to develop my white sources faster. And I think it came to that realization a turn late. And there was this middle turn in this game post-Bog where they just got to deploy the 3 familiars all on the same turn, I think it was. And then Drifter and combo off that way. And I think I had like tapped out in a way where I didn't necessarily have to allow that. So that was not good. We'll wait on this one. So Familiars has always been like one of Pestilence's just absolute worst matchups. You just have 0% in the vast majority of games, but their deck is basically that plus this green splash. So really what we're going to be looking to capitalize on is this green splash making their mana worse, because it's functionally the same deck otherwise. Alright, so sideboarding. I got these two Okiba Gang Shinobis that I'm pretty interested in. Journey to Nowhere is potentially a conversation, and Cathar Commando I think is also something to be interested in. Suffocating Fumes is pretty poor, and Omen of the Dead is also very poor, especially versus Memory Lapse, where even if they're countering my spells, they're not going to the graveyard. So I definitely want Okiba Gang Shinobi in the deck, and it's which of these do I want from here? Is there anything else I want to take out? I don't think I want Journey to Nowhere, having them showing Temporal Spring. That's just a pretty bad situation to set myself up for that I don't need to. So it's probably just these Cathar Commandos, which are really just going to be Blade of the Sixth Prides with Flash. I'm not looking to do anything fancy with them. They're just here to attack. And I think that's better than the cycle on Suffocating Fumes, I think is the conversation there. But yeah, maybe if this was just blue-white familiars, I could see myself getting there on Journey to Nowhere, but nah, I'm just not feeling it. Alright, let's run it like this. Let's see what we can do. And desperately needs Orzhov Basilica. I think the lack of any ability to get a creature in play, which is how we need to win the game, means I think I just need to mulligan that. And this is a lot better. I don't think we can bottom the cast down, even though removal is really bad in this matchup. Maybe it's just the Commando. I'm thinking Commando or a second Scoured Barrens, but really just hate missing land drops with this deck in any circumstance, so I think I'm going to do that. Pestilence is always a nice pickup. So the question will be, if they have represent Memory Lapse, do I do anything? And this is just pretty easy because it's not trivial to get your removal spells to line up, but if they're willing to tap out for it, then you'll happily do that, even though we're still losing. So that's my one real big disappointment from the last BNR and this one that happened this week. Ephemerate still being legal in this format is just such a joke. It's not. Our opponent's deck is not inappropriate by any means, but the card Ephemerate is just, I'm over it. I'm done with it. So they can Memory Lapse here. have a counterspell of some variety. Oh, no blocks, awesome. That's good to know that they're willing to do that. I think in the face of counter magic, I just want to play Lone Missionary and pass. Like, this cast down does enough that I want to hold it up. Because, like, if they go for, like, Drifter FM with Memory Lapse back up on their turn, I'm okay with that, because then I get to put the Pestilence into play and try to ride that wave. But like here, I think I just do this now so they can't draw, like, Snap off of this is the card I don't want them to have. Reduce their ability to have a counterspell on my turn. If they have, like, Spell Pierce here, you know, good beats. That's such a bold attack. That's terrifying. Are they going to snap it? I think I'm okay playing the Pestilence this turn. Wow, just no blocks. So no blocks makes me think they don't have the lapse and that this Pestilence will just get into play. Because if you know may also just have Pulse and Morass in their hands so they don't care about anything that I do. But I think I'm going to try for this. Okay. Okay. I still think Lone Missionary is worth more than the 1 damage I would be doing with Pestilence there. Oh, this hits lands. It's unfortunate. If they just have Ephemerate here for the Drifter, we're in such bad shape. Alright, well, we'll pick up Basic Swamp, try to kill him next turn. Going a little bit wide here. So, like, just countering the Pestilence I don't think is enough to get them out of this turn. But they, you know, they've got 6-card hands, a Drifter in play, like, very easily can get back out. Probably gonna, like, attack with Drifter and then snap to start. Definitely constrained by this green splash right now because this basic forest not being a basic island is pretty troubling. Okay. Oh, great. We got one. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, and they got 7 minutes for game 3, so that can be to our benefit, but they can also just like play Sunscape Familiar, Temporal Spring our lands, and like just never do anything. I really like Journey to Nowhere when we're trying to constrict the time of the game, but no. No, come on, Water, be strong. You don't need to do it. It's so bad. It's so bad if they Temporal Spring it. It's so bad. Yeah, don't even think about it. It's fine. Don't need to do it. They're not low enough on time that Strands matters. Same with Fumes. Yeah, I'll just run it back. Reluctant Keep, I think. This is... I'm gonna die with this hand. That's for sure. But I can't in good conscience go to 6, I think, when this is functional enough and has Okiba Gang Shinobi. That's like pretty good. Okay, basic land makes a huge difference here because it's like 2 basic lands. Like we get to have our 2-drop on curve, and now we get to hit a 4-drop on curve. That was awesome. Okay, we're in good shape now. We're doing it. No Chainer's Edict anything. That sure is anything. Just I like this alone just to say like you don't draw the second card and now your Ephemerate's in exile and not in your graveyard. Like that's just worth it. So like one of the few ways that you ever like actually win versus blue-white familiars is they don't have an answer for Guardian of the Guild Pact. Unfortunately, our opponent has a significant number of Temporal Springs in their deck. So that's like, oh god, Skyfisher is a great draw too, because now we get to just cut off another Ephemerate in exile. Also 2 basic Forest, oh my god. I'm sorry, I'm like jumping all over here. So like one of the few ways you can beat blue-white familiars is by sticking a Guardian of the Guild Pact and just 20-balling them with it. It's not really a great plan versus this opponent, but we can try. Oh, a Temporal Spring, don't hurt me. Oh, that Temporal Spring's gonna hurt me. They've got 6 cards in hand, we can't. We can't try to Okiba Gang Shinobi them. Temporal Spring is nice here in that it taxes their 1 blue mana that they have this turn, but still, just like losing the Basilica or Guardian here, like either one of these is just atrocious. Pulse back the Drifter. Okay. We are really far behind now. I think I just want to get the Missionary into play. They can block with Coiling Oracle, notably. That's it is a multicolored creature. Another Temporal Spring here would be devastating. Really now what we're looking is I just want to get Pestilence into play. Oh, second familiar, that's horrendous. Oh god. This is all really bad. So we know they don't have a basic island in hand, so I think I still want to play Pestilence because they can't Archaeomancer Temporal Spring it. They have to have basic island to do that, or just have like another Temporal Spring in hand, or either trade winds, but then they're like not hitting our lands, and like that's probably pretty good for us. Yeah, so I think I do that, and time is a factor, so I'm not attacking with Core Skyfisher because the 1 to 2 damage that I save on blocking is like a thing. Oh, they have basic island. Oh no. Oh, it's all bad. Oh, it's very bad. I think a game that we win from here, like they need to try to ephemerate this Archaeomancer, and so I think I'm just going to try to snipe it with Cast Down. Another land is useful. It's really results-oriented thinking, but it makes me really regret that one turn where I played Lone Missionary instead of Spare Supplies to dig 1 card deeper, and that might have been a mistake as well. So like 3 pretty huge punts. Not punts. This is my play. Memory Lapse, again, not the worst here. Well, I guess now they're pretty incentivized to Temporal Spring a Basilica back. So now it's really just about their clock. It's the only thing that matters now. Because I think we're just hard locked out of this game if time's not a factor. Snap 2? Okay. I think we're just attacking here with Guardian because we're going to try to cantrip into the Cast Down that's on top of our deck to keep them from playing Ghostly Flicker this turn. It's like I played that island. I think that's really the only shot we have, and hoping that's like enough to slow them down. Every card's just so closer to Drifter, or not Drifter, Ephemerate. It's also kind of lame that I can't even draw with Spare Supplies here because they can respond with Ghostly Flicker. So I just gotta wait. So now I will Skyfisher, pick up Spare Supplies. Or do I pick up Lone Missionary? Oh, it's gotta be Lone Missionary. Listen, I am here to run my opponent out of their chess clock, and I'm going to take the Lone Missionary to do that. Okay, that's definitely annoying here. Yeah, I probably need to stop attacking with Guardian. Guess I'll try to kill this now. Force someone to tap out of some of their blue mana. And then on my turn, I can put in Pestilence. And if that doesn't work, or when that doesn't work, I can cast Lone Missionary. Yeah, I think we're gonna squeak this one out on time, but yeah, definitely losing. Well, they can Temporal Spring my lands, but they just don't have enough time to go through 2 combats right now. Well, they might actually. They might get me here. I just barely lost it. Alright, well, good games, opponent. Definitely an interesting deck and one that is very good against us. So we are 1-0. See you for round 2. Alright, here we are for round number 2 versus Tom.com. Love to play first. And yeah, I think this is a keep. It's awkward, but make land drops, generate some material, get things rolling. Do have a bad habit of just like nervously checking to make sure I'm not auto-yielded sometimes, especially on the first turn. Fortunately, hasn't really bitten me in a video recording yet, aside from that that one Tron League where I just clicked through combat instead of fogging. That was not great. Alright, so Ash Baron's here, presumably another bounce land deck. Okay, Cycle Storm. Well, the second Chainer's Edict is just really smart. Or not Chainer's Edict, second Bojuka Bog in hand is just really smart to have done it this way. Kind of a shame that we ran out the first one there, but is what it is. I think I'm just gonna crack Clue Token here, and I'm not going to play this Bojuka Bog. My clock here is so anemic anyway, and I think that just like trying to get one more card out of this when they're like stuck on mana a little bit. So this was the crucial turn here. If they go like cycle on end step, this cutting them off of these two. Oh no, I shouldn't think about what they're going to do on the end step because I can only affect these two cards here. They're never going to cycle in response. So if it wasn't good last turn, I certainly don't want to do it now. So my next decision becomes, do I cycle Suffocating Fumes or put in Thraben Inspector or Lone Missionary? I think I just want to cycle Fumes. And discard Custody Squire, I guess. Or no. Yeah, probably Custody Squire. It's just so far beyond being relevant. So I will bog again this coming turn, if I get one. It seems unlikely that I get one, but okay. Oh, there's the swamp. It's important that I don't cast any spells before I bog, just so that I don't let them like storm off into Reapings at instant speed. So now we're again charged with cycling or putting some pressure in play, and I think we cycle again. I should not have main phased that. There was no point, but it's fine. This is tough. Like, yeah, just having the mechanics of this matchup are just very strange. Because what I'm trying to do is I just want to hit Warsaw Basilica or Core Skyfisher to access these Bojuka Bogs again. And I think that means I just play Thraben Inspector this turn, crack the clue, and see where that takes me, even though there's like awkwardness with Ash Barrens. I think I still do this because if I hit the bounce land, I want to be setting myself up there, but Scoured Barrens is fine. Okay, I think we're like super dead here. We've just done so little damage to them. Not that like 6 extra damage would be that this Lone Missionary would have done would be that huge either. Just feel like they have too much freedom to pace this however they want. Huh. Blood Celebrant. Got a couple different options to get that card in the graveyard of this turn. Getting it in the graveyard is not something I really want to do because it makes their Songs of the Damned, which are currently very bad, makes them better. Do I guess that's like kind of a non-issue because there's like no way I'm winning this game without attacking. So I just need to attack. So I'm attacking for potentially 5 this turn. So now, okay, so my question now is it better to Chainer's Edict or just let them trade with Lone Missionary if they want to? And if we Chainer's Edict, we attack for 5 this turn and attack for 5 the next turn, hopefully, and Pestilence for the last 2 points of damage. Or we can put the Pestilence into play this turn. I think putting the Pest into play this turn is a little bit better. Because I think that would be better through a couple of blockers. So this is the go turn for them, but I don't think there's really a whole lot we could have done about this. Songs is for 5 right now. Just let them do their thing. Yeah, having that turn 1 bog was just really fun. Oh wait. I was expecting like to ramble aimlessly for a little bit there while they comboed out and killed me, but maybe they have darkness. We kill through one thing, so this is just okay. Alright, we got away with that one. That should not have been quite that easy in the end. They bricked on a couple of draws there, but I'm really curious what was in their hand. Because they had 7 cards in hand for a little bit there. Missed a land drop or 2. Didn't have rituals, aside from this one dark ritual, and didn't have cyclers. But they also had like a turn where there was like 4 mana unspent, so like I don't think they had teachings either. And so like no cyclers, no lands, no mana, no teachings. That's like basically Reaping the Grave. So I don't know what the other 3 cards could be. I imagine they had a few too many Reaping the Graves in hand, but that still doesn't account for everything. How odd. Okay. Let's see here. We want these cards. Keep a Gang Shinobi and Cathar Commando are just more at pressure, and Prismatic Strands can stop them from comboing. I think Cast Down is really bad, but I don't want to board all the way out on removal spells because they do occasionally have this Exhume package, and if they've got Striped Riverwinder, which we did see the basic island that suggests that might be an option available to them, then Chainer's Edict is going to be our removal spell of choice there. But then also you can consider Chainer's Edict versus Suffocating Fumes, the cycle being better when we have high upside cards like Bajuka Bog. It changes the math a little, or swings the dial a bit on whether or not I want to be doing that. How about I'll keep in 3 Edicts. Now that plan is just so bad versus us. The creature plan. When we have Guardian of the Guild Pact in our deck. If we didn't have Guardians, things look different, but yeah. Cast Down is tempting because like you can try to kill Drana Stinger on the combo turn, but we're going to be Strandsing to try and make that happen, not cast down and they frequently kill you in response to the cast down anyway, so it's like not even a sure thing. But this hand looks pretty great, honestly. We've got Bojuka Bog, we've got like another aggressive creature curve. Aggressive is a stretch, but as aggressive as this deck can possibly be. And we'll just be patient with this Bojuka Bog. So I guess I'm kind of establishing this heuristic that 2 creatures is not good enough to bog. 3 creatures is a little bit more tempting. You got it. So again, 3 is the number I'm thinking about here, and I think it's good enough to bog. Also got that nice drawing the 2 of Chainer's Edict to just cleanly deal with that problem. Granted, I think we're like in reasonable shape anyway, but they're just gonna do it again. Oh well, thank goodness. I'd be a little disappointed in them if they exhumed again. And this is part of like why I think the small ball bogs are okay, because they have turns like this where there's no graveyard at the start of this turn, so like I don't feel like you can really wait on your Bojuka Bogs forever. They do have a time when they become, or they're sorcery speed answers. You don't get to like just wait until it's the best time. Like you do have to just say, I hope this is good. And I hope this Okiba Gang Shinobi's good. But I suspect this one's pretty strong. They have 4 cards in hand. They don't need a ton to go off, but this is still hoping to inconvenience them. It does put a lot of pressure to do everything this turn though, because they're going to lose a lot more of their hand, but knowing that they have Exhume in their deck means that like they do have greater routes to play too. Can also just cast a fatty here if they want to. Okay, they get a little draw 3 on Reapings here. Look, the way they're aggressively cycling Street Wraith makes it seem like they want to go all for it this turn, but they've used 3 Songs of the Damned, so it's going to be challenging to find another one. See what those last 2 are. Wow, okay, we're in there. Okay. I suspect we shall recover. So there's like maybe an interesting question there about what creatures to play if we care about getting damage on board, but now we just cast our Thraben Inspectors, get towards more graveyard hate, and we do find that in this core Skyfisher. So now they're going to have no graveyard and under Okiba Gang Shinobi, so they're in a bit of trouble. Make sure we attack and get this trigger before we nuke the graveyards. Alright, and that'll do it. Alright, off to a nice little 2-0 start here. See you for round 3. Round number 3 is up, and we are versus GN42. Do not know anything about this player. This hand is a smidge awkward with this whole bounce land on the draw, but it's pretty functional. I don't think we can send it back. Oop. Motolag. Please come back. I see that opponent has played a mountain. And Voldaran Epicure. Okay. We've got this Lone Missionary, so that'll be pretty good versus Burn. But we do not, at this time, answer Thermo Alchemist, which is going to be bad. Curse is also bad. Crossroads is very good. On the other hand. Now what do we do? So we need to be casting white spells. So we want to have access to multiple white mana, but I really want to pick up Kabira Crossroads with this Orzhov Basilica to gain a little extra life. Am I okay just saying I'm going to take one spell a turn for the next couple of turns? I think I'm okay with that. So what I want to do in that case then is I want to play Thraben Inspector because that gets to block here the best, and then I just get to cantrip through that. And then next turn I'll play Lone Missionary and pick up the Crossroads. I am okay. That was a pretty bad punish for that, to be honest. Yeah, so now I just have to cast Lone Missionary, tap my mana wrong. because now I think we have to pick up Swamp. Oh, they're just bolting that. Okay. That seems really good for us. So now we just have these 3-bit inspectors to flood out. Or flood the board. We do flood out a little here, but that's yeah. I do think I want to thin to win a little bit here. Pick up a basic planes because Pestilence is basically never going to hit play. Basilica versus Scoured Barons here is interesting. Could also do neither. And cast Guardian. I think I'm going to activate Clue Token first and see what this makes me want to do if I want to play a land or something. And now I think I'm happy just playing the Barons. I think we're dead here. These Searing Blazes have just been too good. Need a Custody Squire here to stay in it. These are all bad, so I need to draw something good. That is not good. So just keep on hoping their hand is bad. Oh, I want Crossroads. Discard a Pestilence, because that's... yeah, any 2 spells here does it. And that's a Fire Blast. Alright. That was unfortunate. Okay, but things get a lot better for us. We basically have 13 cards that we can board in. So that's kind of exciting. Yeah. So these 8 are just gone. I don't want them. Guardian's not bad, but like there's just no need. It's such a slow creature. Blocking doesn't matter. Suffocating Fumes is also just good to go. Omen of the Dead is a card I really wonder about in these matchups because there's some draws where they don't kill anything. And I feel like it's only good if my opponent's like playing into like blocking with the Voltaren Epicure on a Lone Missionary. So I feel like that's not a really excellent thing to be doing. I guess I'll leave in 1. That's a pretty happy medium here, and then I just get to bring in everything else that I want. Yeah, let's do it. And this hand is awesome. This is why this matchup is so good, because this hand is so actual bad at interacting with them, but I just have these gain lands, and so my dirtily mid-range plan is just like actively good against them now. Well, Darren Epicure not looking particularly good here. Draws obviously, like, we're not doing crazy things over here, but we don't need to be. I'll just put in a Custody Squire, I think. This is just a good bait and switch for all of this, so that now we get to just keep a Gang Shinobi and the game's over. And the game's like not technically over, but it's just mind rot in addition to all of these life gain that we played, in addition to these Voltaire and Epicures not being worth cards, in addition to this Fire Blast that's happening right now. Wow. Wow. That's... Whew. Whew. That was a nice Fire Blast. That was nice. We've got enough time here that I just want to Squire for Squire, and then Squire for Okiba Gang in the future. It's just not a huge need to make it happen fast, as noted by that. Sweet. Anything else that I wish to do differently here? I'm thinking about the second Leave No Trace versus this Omen of the Dead. I haven't played with Cathar Commando before, so I don't know how this changes the numbers on like being able to kill Curse of the Pierced Heart. Maybe this second Leave No Trace is just going to be worse. I just have more answers to that. Yeah, that sounds reasonable, but I think I'll still play one because it's just so nice when it lines up, and we're just in such good shape anyway. This hand's so close. Oh, but they're mulliganing on the play. That's awesome. Oh, God. Oh. This hand's so close. Just like a land in the first two draw steps. Because we're bottoming Squire. Hit a land to have cast down Lone Missionary. That's just so good for us. Oh. I think we mulligan to 5 though. Can just have better hands. Okay, we did it. We put back Bog, we put back Scoured Barrens. I think this will be good. We've got the Splinter Twin of Kabira Crossroads, Orzhov Basilica. Land? Oh. I think it's unlikely that they kill us on 4 cards here, but this is what burn does. It puts a Thermo Alchemist into play, it untaps, and then it wins. But maybe they spew their hand this turn. This is all going at me. This is fine. Wow. I think that's too aggressive a Fire Blast. This has been your hot take of the day. I believe that Fire Blast was too aggressive. Well, with a land off the top, it certainly looks better for them, that's for sure. A little bit awkward the way these draws have lined up here, but just playing Core Skyfisher as Baby Lone Missionary I think is going to be good enough here. Start applying some pressure, and then we just start leaving our mana up. Love to see Voldarin Epicure here. Cannot adequately express how happy I am that my opponent has put that in their deck. It's so good for us. It's like they just added a Needle Drop, and the Needle Drop didn't draw a card. It's just like a gut shot at sorcery speed. Okay. Lava Runner is much more of a real card here. Still don't have a great answer to Thermal Alchemist, so I think I just strands there for red, and now I start going back to leaving my creatures back. Pop this clue token. Gain more life. Get a higher life total than my opponent, and we did it, so nice set of games versus burn. Good to showcase how we can lose those games very easily because we have these really bad Pestilence and Guardians in the deck that are terrible in game 1, so it's not a complete shoo-in of a matchup, but it is just one of your best matchups out there. So 3-0, see you for round 4. All right, round 4, we are up against Entropy 263, better known as Birdman, streaming on Twitch. Or I can't remember which is his Twitch username and which goes where. But he's been playing Tron. And this hand is good versus Tron, I think. As good as we can. Because we're going to put a Skyfisher into play and try and attack. That's got to be... That's how our wins look like. Okay, maybe some Fangrintron over there. I am just gonna Omen on turn 1 here so that we can turn to the Skyfisher without losing tempo. We can go Priest of Ancient Lore. Just try to clock them as meagerly as we can. Ooh, red mana. Makeshift munitions. On my priest? No. Okay, well, I believe this is still the best play available to me. This is this priest looks pretty bad here. I won't lie to you. Golem Foundry. Oh my goodness. I think we have to hold off on the Pestilence here because, like, he can just hold up munitions and snipe my Skyfisher, and that's just so bad for me if that happens. So I think we cycle, see if this is anything we want. It's not. Fortunately, Birdman's like a little far away from Tron here. Golden Egg's pretty good though. Once these Foundry, I mean, I guess we deal reasonably well with Foundry tokens, and now Tron is a blink away. Another curious spot here. Do I want to Omen back Priest or Omen back Lone Missionary? Lone Missionary means I get to spare supplies this turn. Omen means that no, I just get back the Priest. That's not a complicated decision. If we'd untap land, it's great. Okay, can I have potentially 7 untap this turn? Wow, every draw step this match has just been like, okay, let me rethink my entire game plan, because I'm learning about his deck at the same time, so I'm trying to figure out what is the best plan here. I think the best plan will be Squire and attack, because we just keep putting on more pressure in the air, and hopefully that gets us to a Pestilence next turn. I have no idea if I'm bogging, if this means anything to them, but I'm gonna bog. I'm also gonna fetch a swamp here. So it needs to be like land Fangren to win here. They've seen a lot of cards to not see Tron. Tron's illegal. Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm presuming he has constructed his deck with other ways to find it, you know, expedition map in addition, like maybe some ancient stirrings or crop rotations. And please don't have the best, bro. Noob luck. It's my first time playing the deck, and I'm just drawing well. That's all that there is. Okay. Makeshift munitions, red black Tron. Dispute. I didn't see Galvanic Blasts. The Golem Foundry too. Yeah, these... I don't think I want Strands. Strands is like sometimes fine versus like Rolling Thunder and things from like that, but I don't think that's what his deck is doing. Gut Shot doesn't do anything. Commando and Okiba Gang Shinobi seem good. Journey to Nowhere, we just didn't even see enough creatures to warrant those as is. These Fumes are coming out, and Omen was reasonable. Did express some interest in controlling the board. Maybe a trim on some removal here. Yeah, let's... Well, for one, Journey to Nowhere is just better than Chainer's Edict, I think. With the ability to go wide on Golem Foundry, and Journey to Nowhere has like good value with Skyfisher versus tokens. I think I would rather have Journey, because if they have like a sea of Golem tokens and a Ulamog's Crusher, I would like to kill the Ulamog's Crusher. Given how colorless heavy their deck is, it's also possible I want to go down a Guardian of the Guild Pact because it's very bad. But I don't know if I quite have that luxury. I think I will, though. It's so bad. Just another Journey I think will be slightly better. Oh, this hand's good. No, or don't get to disrupt until we get to this Okiba Gang Shinobi, but let's see. Birdman mulls to 5 again, but I don't know. Mulliganing to 5 in his Tron Deadly Dispute deck, like it's not. It matters, but it's not like, oh, we've got this in the bag. Tron continues to be illegal. Well, there's the green mana if they were looking for that. What land do I want to play here? I just play this because I'm discarding a hand size anyway. I was wondering if I'd be just... I don't want to put this bounce land into play because I'm terrified of getting Dinroba Horde, but that's just not a real thought. That's just not what's going on. Could very easily have some interaction here, but I'm gonna jam. It's gotta be like Cannonade or something. Cast down. Oh, more card draw. Okay. I really just don't know what's in his deck at this moment. So, like, we saw just a lot of cantripping artifacts, the munitions. Munitions is certainly good on this board with the treasure token, but I don't know how he's looking to kill me. And it's got Tron and 5 cards in hand, so that's kind of... What's going on is him thinking about how best to kill me, and I'm surprised it's taking this long. Maybe a Mole Drifter? Fangren, okay. Now, getting another hit in with Okiba Gang Shinobi is great. I think this Omen of the Dead has the potential to matter, so I'd rather just play my hand a little bit more slowly, especially because again, now we know for sure he's a Fangren Marauder deck, and that means that like can't really pressure that life total as easily as I might want to. So I guess I journey that now. So this first Skyfisher's 100% getting in there, picking up spare supplies. The second one, I guess not. It doesn't put lethal. Doesn't change the clock here. I still have lethal in 2 turns if I play it in the next turn. And I'll just wish I had more resources otherwise. Okay. I have the cast down for this golem, so I'm okay to just rumble on in. I think just pushing for damage a little bit here is good enough. I think this bog here is fine. I think it's better than playing Thraben Inspector because we're like probably not, like this Okiba Gang Shinobi's probably not connecting here. Okay, and they're gaining some life anyway. Okay. Yeah, your draws were awkward for sure. Like that was. I don't know what like combo finish is in his deck, but whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. My deck's gonna be bad versus it. Although I don't have lethal here, so it's not out of the woods yet. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, just gonna draw the one card that gets me lethal damage there. All right, so 4-0. Got another trophy match coming up versus Jund Disputron. That's a pretty cool deck. And I'll see you there for the final round. Alright, so we got our trophy match here versus Aerostratus. I do not know anything about this player either. I say either, I knew quite a bit about the last opponent, although not much about the deck they were playing. I already feel just incredibly lucky to be 4-0 in this league. Realistically, this is like a 2-2 league. It's like a land away from being a very solid hand. Instead, it's kind of sketchy. I think being on the draw with 2 cantrip creatures gives me hope that this gets to where it wants to go. I've got 3 draws. first and second turns or I get 4 draws to hit a third land with the Thraben Inspector, so okay, I feel better now. But I don't feel good about Basic Forest. Pass, especially. Basic Forest pass means defenders, and I cannot beat defenders. Oh, okay. Okay, Stompy's good. We can do Stompy. Not Nest Invader? Very nice, okay. I think I actually play the Thraben Inspector here. Usually Inspector's a pretty good liability because it gets Savage Swiped so easily, but because we have this Priest, I think I want to have them like swipe, like if they go like swipe Hunger on their turn, if they don't have the Vines to protect, like this Cast Down gets to like long term solve that problem. But yeah, letting them spend the swipe here so that Priest is better later, I think is going to be good for us. Computer's not happy about what is occurring right now. See if it comes back. Okay, a lot of things happen. Burning Tree into Elephant Guide. I will chump to gain 5 life. I think that is in my best interests. I think we're going to cast down this on the main phase. Just save the 2 life, and then next turn we can start developing out in other ways. Not feeling great. If I put Pestilence in play, I'm taking 7 times 2 is 14. That's probably not what I want to do, especially if they develop out more. Yeah. Let's get Priest in here. I think I put the Thraben Inspector in for now because I do want to probably play Guardian this coming turn. Double Vines kills me, but I'm probably not beating Double Vines this game. Even if I block here, I'd be taking 12, go to 2 when I need Pestilence to help me win this game. So yeah, not beating this draw. Nope. Triple Burning Emissary on the play was just a little too much tempo versus this awkward hand. Okay, computer, you need to like actually play. Magic Online might just crash here. So Stompu, we got Journey to Nowhere and Prismatic Strands. So cards we want to be bringing in. Cards coming out are Thraben Inspector, chief among them. And I kind of like the rest of these removal spells. Suffocating Fumes can be good. It's like another Strands effect. Spare Supplies, I think similar to Thraben Inspector, is just a way to trap you in a hand that's too slow. But it is powerful, so I think I will do it this way. A curve gets a little bit wonkier in these games, but this is the good hand. Okay, please, computer. Getting to Chainer's Edict, like the turn 1 creature, is going to be pretty important here. And I'm just I'm gonna get the swamp. We've got so many black cards in hand, unlikely to need double white in the near future. Yep, good thing we got the Edict out of there before it was too late. Ooh, the Vault Scourge. Interesting. I think I'll just kill Burning Tree, because Burning Tree is better than Nest Invader due to Guardian of the Guild Pact in our deck, and I think just saving the damage here over Vault Scourge is better for us. I don't feel great about our position, but I think I'm actually okay throwing down the Pestilence here. Most Stompy players like to bring in just every Gleeful Sabotage they can get their hands on, so there's a good chance it dies here, but then I think the Custodian Squire gets to do some things that we're interested in. If we untap, we're in like just really good shape. I think the upside is there, and like we survive enough on the crackback here that it's okay. Skyfisher's a great draw here. So now we get to Skyfisher, return the swamp. We do give them a window here if they want to Hunger of the Howl Pack on this, they can. Which is not the best, but I think I'd still rather get the Skyfisher in play because it's really only bad versus that in particular. Okay. So Hunger there does kind of mean that we're committed to chumping this turn and getting the Journey to Nowhere. So now we die to Vines of the Vastwood, basically, which is not good. I'd like to not die to that. Do I want to activate Pestilence here? I don't think so. I am okay just starting on this journey to nowhere. If they have Vines of the Vast, would I get to cast down in response? And then I'm just facing down the 2/2. Which I think is doable. I don't think they have 2 cards that can deal +8 damage. Okay, that's all. Okay, I understand now. Alright, so now we're just in the Strand Zone. I think I want to preserve my life total with Pestilence. So even though I have the opportunity to kill Ledgewalker right now, I do not want to. Because my life points are not infinite. And there's a future turn where maybe I want to like block with Custodian Squire and then activate twice when I have more life for such a scenario. I think I just lose to Vines of the Vastwood if I just journey that. I also lose to a Vines off the top. Yeah, there's probably just no need to do that. Just feels not great spending the strands here, but I think we're dead this game. Yeah. Man. Just break down land for 9 draw steps. Or 8 draw steps. Anyway. Okay, we have a shot now. Guess I just pass here. I don't want to like give them the window to do something and not have my Pestilence activations up. But these I think I will fire off now because my mana is tied up. Okay, that was also a great draw. Okay. Okay, we stabilized. I think. Yeah, I think this Pestilence has enough value that I want to pick up Scoured Barrens for an extra life point to play around with here. Okay. Great. Okay. That game was harder than I felt it should have been. For one of those games where I just cast like 4 removal spells by turn 4, and then it was so close, and it's like, that shouldn't really happen. When I say shouldn't really happen, I mean that as like a problem with our deck, that like we like executed a game plan that we wanted to, and it was like not exactly there. So Omen of the Dead and Suffocating Fumes for spare supplies is what I'm considering right now. Still know that I just don't want to have Thraben Inspector at all, but Silhana Ledgewalker is like the odd one out card that we saw, and like Fumes and Omen of the Dead are both like kind of good versus that. I go down to 1 Omen. It is kind of nice to have access to, but there's going to be a lot of hands where it's bad. What does a man have to do to just companion Orzhov Basilica? I just want it all the time. All the time. Okay. This has to be a keep still. It has its issues, but I don't think we can mulligan this. We're just gonna get run over by 1 and 2 mana creatures, trading for our 2 mana removal. I can feel it. I fire that off before Morbid or Vines of the Vastwood gets involved. I think in the middle of combat I want to cast down the Nest Invader. Okay. I need to try to convert the Suffocating Fumes to the Eldrazi spawn token. I guess the best time to do that is just in their upkeep. Or like let them go to combat on their turn. Because the extra 1 life that we save from doing it now... So it's 1 life on their turn versus the draw step being Hunger of the Howl Pack. And... I feel like it's probably better to just main phase it. Because that way, like, maybe they want Divine Zavest with the token on their turn. That's also, like, another line that's cut off from them now. Just hope that they don't have anything else. Oh, that's also pretty good here. Okay. Yeah, because it's Nettle Sentinel, it's like actually a pretty interesting choice on which one to remove or to keep around. Oh my god, these draws are so bad. Okay, but they haven't drawn another creature, which is good, so we've got time, but that's really good here too. Oh, play continues. I think I just have to take this one. Nest Invader's also so absurdly good here. Because I can't Strands this token. They can get the Rancor onto it. Just Vines of the Vastwood kills me here. Well, it was a good run. Feels pretty lucky to come out with a 4-1 from this league. I'm not disappointed. It's just always frustrating to get close and then lose it to a very good matchup. It wasn't like our opponent's draws were unstoppable. I think that really was the deck failing to function. And, you know, that happens. It happens. Yep, now we're just dead. Yeah. Alright, good games, opponent. Yep. No, Moto doesn't even want to let me do that. Alright, so 4-1. Very pleased on the whole with it. How that went. The flex slots of like Priest and Custody Squire and Suffocating Fumes. The Suffocating Fumes was really bad that league. No good matchups for it other than Cycling being like a reasonable thing, so maybe for the time being I want to cool it with this card, but it feels hard to justify Strands either because the matchups we played that were good were like Burn and Stompy, and this is not a metagame for Burn and Stompy. Like, not to say our opponents like are wrong for playing it, but if just like trying to think about how to sideboard best, those are not matchups I want to be planning too much for. So I think I'd be looking most to replace these Suffocating Fumes. I don't know with what. Might be time to try the Aven Rift Watcher there and maybe sneak in some Deadly Disputes as well, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, again, like, as a 4-1, that feels like a 2-3. It really felt like a 2-3. One, because we did lose to like the Bant player that just timed out, and that was a freebie for us. And I feel like the Tron matchup, we just kind of got away with that when we shouldn't have. But certainly the Burn and Cycle Storm wins felt like we played reasonably well to get those. And I'm very happy with how I played the Stompy match. I don't want to sound like I'm not. What happened in game 3 is exactly what I said would happen when I keep the hand, is that the removal, like, they just have more creatures, and I just run out of removal, and I don't have lands, and I don't have spells, because all I have is removal. And that's certainly something with when I board in that manner, something that I open myself up more to, so maybe I shouldn't have. But yeah. Lots to think about there, lots to think about with this deck moving forward, but thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.